Greetings, everybody. This is Julie Nelson, Rich Witch, artisan perfumer, astrologer, and animal activist. And the animal area is what we're going to talk about today, and specifically Brumbies. And I have amazing Billie Dean back with me, and you will be hearing more from us. To introduce a couple of her horses, Billie Dean is an amazing woman who was on a mission to help our wild Brumbies, to help save them. And not only that, she helps all animals and is just amazing with her work. So I'm going to hand it over to Billie Dean because she's going to share about two of her horses, and we will be doing more of this, and then we will have a chat with you about how to help make a difference and stop this bullshit from going on. Okay, over to you, Billie.
Hi, everyone. There's been a lot of misconception around there about horses, about the Brumbies. And just this week, I've been called romantic, and I was told that the horses in the park, they're just knobby. Knobby. Actually, they're magnificent, and I do want to share a couple of stories. We'll see how many we can fit in today. Well, one of them, they're very much like us, and they live in family clans of, up to about 12. There's, people have this idea that there's thousands of horses trampling on all our native wildlife. Well, that's not true. They have little mobs, and the footage that you're seeing on the news is from the man from Snowy River. So they just keep using it, and they're thoroughbreds and they're actors. They're not even Brumbies. It's not true. It's all smoke and mirrors.
I'm just going to cut in there and say that makes me so fucking angry that they're using bullshit to do this.
I know. It makes me angry. Yeah. So here's a story about a little girl who fell in love with a little boy, and they were in two different families, two different herds across a fence, and this little girl decided that she'd fallen in love with a little colt and wanted to be in that herd. Mm-hmm. And she'd get out and we'd go, oh, no, you can't get pregnant. Go back. We haven't handled him yet. And we put her back. And she was just so determined. And it was like she packed her bags just like a teenager would for us. No, Mum, Dad, I'm leaving. I'm in love. And that's exactly how she was. And her whole herd looked over the fence as she, staring at her. And I could feel it all, and they're going, oh, she's gone. And she'd made her decision and she was going to be with that other herd. Now, it's not easy to get into another herd. And so there was one mare who was chasing her out and she was trying to flirt and, she'd packed her bags and she'd moved out. She'd left home. So she made herself useful. And so there was another mother mare who kind of was on the outskirts of that herd and said, oh, yeah, I don't mind if you hang out with us. So she babysat that for that mare. And then when the mare who was chasing her out, when she was giving birth, she was the one that stayed and guarded her right next to her, just stood there guarding.
I know.
So here is a horse behaving, it's like the clans, she behaved exactly like a human would. She made herself useful. She'd made up her mind. She made herself useful, and there was nothing we could do about it because she would get out of that fence.
Yeah.
No, what we tried. And it was just amazing to watch. And I love to tell that story because it is so like us. They're like us. And we're killing them. Anyway, the other story that I'd like to tell is of a different kind of story. This was just happened yesterday. I posted on Facebook or the day before about how my husband Andrew was out doing the feeds and he came across a circle of Brumbies And he went, oh, what's going on here? Drove over, and they were surrounding a little tiny Roo who had hurt herself, and she had a little baby on board. And so they were protecting her. No foxes were going to get her. Nothing was going to get her. She was safe because she was in a circle of Brumbies. They were protecting her. And not only that, if they hadn't been, Andrew would never have seen her. And
Yeah.
she was, not on the road, not anywhere where he would have normally gone. So not only did they know that we're the people with hands and heart, that's what we're here for. Humans are here to help other species. That's our purpose, with our hands and our heart. And so he called me and said, there's a Roo down. She's up with the circle of horses. So I immediately whizzed up. I rang all the wildlife people I know, and we're all really busy. So, there was a whole lot of orchestration going on, and I stayed with her, and the Brumbies stayed with me. And I was sitting there on the grass with her, telling her she was okay and that help was coming and she was safe. And these Brumbies were sending healing energy. And I don't know, we talked about this before. If you've sat, I'm sure most people haven't sat with a Brumbie and received their healing energy, but it was pouring off them. And she was getting it. She was calm. I was getting it. And it was just amazing to feel and sense. And they stayed until Steve, the wildlife carer, came, and he had a couple of assistants with him, and they knew that this little one was getting help, and so they all wandered off.
Yeah.
In the meantime, I also have to add, on that same day, and it took a few hours for all this to happen, they didn't leave us for those few hours, several hours. But there was another herd out there, and they were playing in the dam. They were splashing. They were having a lovely time. The chorus of frogs was deafening. Here we have the Minister for the Environment saying, oh, they're killing all the frogs. They trample them. I'm sorry. This was a herd of 12, and they were not trampling. We've got more frogs now than we've ever had. True story. So they don't trample them. Even when they're swimming and playing and carrying on, they're not trampling.
I absolutely. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just saying. So there's 3 stories, and I could tell you one more if I put it in. There was Michael, who was also out there. There was Michael, who was also out there, and he's just. I always feel love in his presence. He is just this horse. He just stands there and exudes love. And this is what they do. They exude this love, and I can't help feeling anything but love in return. And when little Peace was kicked out of his herd, because that's what they do, the boys, when they reach a certain age, they have to go to another herd. They go to their bachelor's herd and find a herd of their own. So there's not interbreeding. It's very clever. But little Peace was by himself. And so I sent a telepathic message to Michael and said, Michael, please take Peace under your wing. He's little and he needs your help. Not only did he take Peace under his wing, he protected him. He protected him with his body. And again, when I witnessed this, they did it in front of me. When I witnessed this, my whole heart just expanded again. So these are the sorts of experiences that I get from my inside view. And when I hear all these lies about the Brumbies, I get very, very upset.
Yeah.
They are an incredible being, and very ancient, very, very ancient, with this incredible DNA that they're drawing on from 30 million years ago. They're older and wiser than us. They are really special.
Well, I consider them to be incredibly intelligent beings. And I just want to share a couple of things. And then before we wrap up, because we're going to come back with more stories ongoing, so that you can make yourself a cup and sit down, have a listen, and please share these videos far and wide. This is very important, because lies are being told, lies about the amount of Brumbies there are, the destruction they do. It is absolutely, without doubt, lies. It's the proof is in the pudding. And so don't listen to everything and believe everything that you hear on television or the media, or just give me that woman's name that's spreading all the lies, the politician. What's her name?
The Minister for the Environment is Penny Sharp.
Okay, Penny Sharp, yes. I'm not very political, so I had to ask Billie Dean her name. Penny Sharp is speaking untruths. I may get into trouble for this, but that is the truth. So
well, we don't know if she's just being fed lies from her people.
Okay, all right. Well, we'll clarify that, and then the information, wherever she's getting it from, is untrue. So I want to actually just step into my realm for a minute, because I have 5 mini horses. I've had the 2 eldest ones for 20 plus years, I think 21 years now. I always get a bit confused on the time. And I bred 3. So the youngest one is 10, and wherever I move, they move. I am a part of that herd when I'm with them. I can be the alpha female when I'm in that herd, but I don't have to be. It's only if they muck up a little bit. When I go down, I never, ever in my life have experienced healing like the healing I receive from my minis. I sit down, and especially the babies, it used to be the elder too, but they kind of trot off and like to do their own thing now. Mama Bell goes off, the 3 babies, and they surround me like a triangle. And I sit there, and they love cuddles. They've never trampled me. I sit down, I'm nose to nose. We kiss, we lick. Aridon loves to try and pull my ponytail out. They never hurt me, but their healing energy is phenomenal. So I have, you know, I've moved 9 times in the last 12 years, and those horses have moved with me. People often say, why don't you let them go, find them new homes? And I said, 1, they'll never be separated. They've spent their lives together. I got my 2 eldest ones when they were 6 months young, and the others we bred. And they are a part of, we're connected. We're so connected. It's just so beautiful. And you know, let's face it, in these days especially, I'm struggling emotionally with all the cruelty that goes on, with all the hardship that's going on. I go down and sit with my horses, and the world does not exist. The healing and the energy that I receive is phenomenal. And the love, and I call it love, and I sit there sometimes with tears rolling down my eyes because of the beauty and the pureness of their energy. So wild horses, domestic or tame horses, they are sentient beings. They are here for a reason, and it's really important that people understand that the destruction that is happening in our world, in our country, comes through human error, ignorance, or purely not caring because it's for their own greed. And I have no shame in saying that. I know it to be true. So what we want to do, we're going to be sharing stories about the Brumbies, and Billie Dean has many. She's doing an amazing job. And if you want to help financially, connect in with Billie Dean. I'll put in her details below, but we want you to write to Penny Sharp and whoever you can, and stop this aerial shooting where they are wounded and just left to die. How many are they stating?
They're saying that there's 23,500. Oh, the Nature's Conservation Council sent an email out saying there's 14 or 18 or something. There were, there was 14, like I
1,000 we're talking about.
1,000.
But how many actually have been counted?
There was a count of 563 done in the beginning of June, with maybe being generous another 1,000 somewhere else in the park.
Okay.
But 70 people went down. There's also been an independent count done by a statistician, and since then they've just taken out heaps, and they're still shooting them, and they're still trapping them, and they're still slaughtering them, and they're just bringing them out as fast as they can. And this is wrong, and we're waiting to see if there will be. Emma Hurst has called for a moratorium on the shooting and culling and trapping and everything that they're doing until we have a recount on which we hope that some Brumbies supporters will be at the table, because all these counts have been totally wrong. They're fabricated, and it's unjust, and it's untrue, and it's corrupt. And really, we think that it's just, I mean, I don't know why, but you follow the money. They're talking about bringing more tourists in, and tourists, have been known to complain about, horse manure, or
Okay.
they're terrified of horses and have to hide in a toilet block, and everyone's sort of going,
Go
huh?
somewhere else is what I say, and we can talk about that more. We have talked about that in a previous discussion. So what we are asking you is to speak up, have your voice, and to save these Brumbies, because actually every native animal is important to our environment, to keep our ecosystem balanced. This is essential. And all of the poor animals that are cruelly cheated, that are not native, have actually been brought in by humans. So humans are the cause of all of the disruption, but we want to save these Brumbies. They are essential to our environment. So write to Penny Sharp, stand up for the Brumbies.
And sorry, Julie, also we will put a link to the submission. If you can do a submission, also write to Penny Sharp and just tell her that you're disgusted, but she is doing a submission, a formal submission. I don't quite trust the submission process, but I think the more people who put in and say absolutely no aerial culling, it is too cruel. It was cruel.
Any culling.
Any culling is, but aerial shooting for panicked horses with foals at foot and pregnant mares. Oh my God, we saw it in 2000.
Yeah,
we saw it in 2000.
Very poor.
Labor then said no more. Australia then rose up. And so for the last 20 years, they've been doing this propaganda campaign against the Brumbies. And now people go, it's just a Brumbie. Or, are you just romantic? And
no, these are living creatures that deserve to be here. So we'll put the links below. And for now, we'll finish off, but we will be back to talk more about this. So, and sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, I just want to say thank you. Thank you for being a voice, and thank you everyone for taking action, because this is abominable. It's unacceptable.
It is abominable. It's
and it is
disgraceful.
It's evil.
It is evil. I agree. And on that note, we shall finish. Save the Brumbies. Help support us. Help support the Brumbies. And we'll be seeing you again soon. Lots of love, and thank you for being a voice. And thank you, Billie Dean. You are amazing.
Thank you.
Next time, you're welcome. Until next time. See you. Bye.